What if I told you that one of the world's greatest ancient mysteries was directly connected to a symbol you probably see every single day? We're diving into a theory pulled from our source material that talks about an unfinished plan, a plan thousands of years in the making, that supposedly links the Great Pyramid of Giza to the dollar bill in your pocket. So let's see what this is all about.
It all starts with a very real and very, very old mystery, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's one of the most studied structures on the entire planet, and yet it holds this fundamental secret right at its very top. Why was it left incomplete?
Okay, so to really get what this theory is all about, we've got to start with the cold, hard facts, the actual physical state of the pyramid's summit, which, believe it or not, has been documented for centuries. And look, this isn't some new idea. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus noticed the missing capstone all the way back in 60 BC. His argument was pretty simple. The smooth casing stones below were all perfectly intact, so he figured the capstone couldn't have just been taken off. He thought it must have never been there to begin with. And when you look at the physical evidence today, things get even weirder. The top is this huge, flat, 30-foot square, and get this, there's no binding cement on that top layer, unlike the rest of the pyramid. There are even these wild reports, like one from the inventor Sir Seaman, about getting powerful electrostatic shocks at the peak. The main point here is that the top of the pyramid has been physically, well, strange for a very long time. All right, hang on, because we're about to take a wild turn from an ancient monument in the Egyptian desert to a piece of paper printed by the US Treasury. And this, right here, is where our source material makes its most dramatic and, honestly, surprising connection. And here it is. This is the absolute heart of the connection the source presents. On one side, you have the Great Pyramid physically missing its capstone for thousands of years, and on the other, you've got the pyramid on the dollar bill, which is very clearly and symbolically shown with its capstone floating totally separate from the base. The source we're looking at says this is absolutely not a coincidence. Okay, so if we're saying this isn't just a random coincidence, then what is it? Well, the theory claims it's a message, one that's been hidden in plain sight this whole time. So let's break down the symbols of the Great Seal, at least according to this specific interpretation. First up, we have the phrase annuit coptes. Now, usually hear this translated as, he has favored our undertakings. But this interpretation takes a different route, translating it more directly and ominously as announcing the birth. The birth of what exactly? Well, the second phrase seems to answer that question. Novus Ordo Seclorum. This is the really famous one. It's often translated as a new order of the ages, but our source is much more blunt. It translates it directly to that well-known and often controversial phrase, New World Order. Then you've got the Roman numerals at the base, 1776. We all associate that year with American independence, of course. But the source says, hold on a second, look at this other event from that year. May 1st, 1776, the exact date that a man named Adam Weishaupt founded a secret society in Bavaria called the Illuminati. And what about the number 13? I mean, it is everywhere on the seal. 13 layers of stone, 13 arrows, 13 olive leaves. Sure, we've all heard it's for the 13 colonies, but this theory claims that in occult tradition, 13 is the number of depravity and rebellion. A totally different meaning. So what about the floating eye itself, that glowing capstone? According to this interpretation, it represents Lucifer, the light bearer. And it also represents the small elite group, the enlightened ones, who are watching over the rest of us from above, guiding this unfinished plan. So, how in the world does an unfinished pyramid in Egypt, symbolized on a dollar bill, connect to a New World Order? According to the source, all of these threads actually lead back to a single ancient event from the book of Genesis. And this is it. This is the central argument. The Great Pyramid, left incomplete, is seen not as some ancient Egyptian screw-up, but as an intentional symbol of the Tower of Babel. Humanity's first attempt at a unified world order, which God himself supposedly stopped. So the unfinished pyramid represents Satan's unfinished business. So, our source basically lays out this epic secret history in 3 acts. It started with the ambition at the Tower of Babel. That ambition was then immortalized in the design of the Great Pyramid. And now, supposedly, it's reaching its final stages with the modern push for a new world order. And to bring this ancient theory right into our world today, the source points to quotes like this one, which is attributed to David Rockefeller.
It's presented as evidence that there are powerful figures out there actively trying to create the conditions for this final global transformation.
Right, so if there's a plan this big, who are the planners? Who's behind the curtain? The source points to a whole network of secret societies and powerful individuals, all supposedly working behind the scenes for centuries.
And the list of these alleged architects? It really reads like a who's who of classic conspiracy lore. It kicks off with Valshop's Illuminati, who are said to have infiltrated the Freemasons. It includes powerful banking families like the Rothschilds, and it stretches all the way to the modern term globalists.
And this quote, which they attribute to the Illuminati's founder, really seems to spell out the alleged strategy perfectly, doesn't it? The argument is that the true goals have always been hidden from the public, concealed in symbols and behind the closed doors of secret societies.
So, this all leads to the endgame. If the pyramid represents an unfinished plan, what does its completion actually look like? What does it mean to finally put that glowing capstone in place?
According to the source, the whole plan finally culminates with the arrival of a single world leader, the figure known in biblical prophecy as the Antichrist. His appearance on the world stage will signify the completion of the New World Order, the symbolic moment when that capstone is finally set atop the pyramid.
And to hammer home the supposed spiritual stakes of all this, the source leaves us with this pretty chilling quote attributed to a UN official. It claims the final step into this new order isn't political or economic, it's spiritual. A pledge of allegiance to the light bearer, symbolized by that all-seeing eye.
So, what do you think? What are we supposed to make of all this? Is it just a series of historical coincidences and misinterpretations? Or, as the theory suggests, is this a symbolic prophecy that's been hidden in plain sight this entire time? The source connects an ancient monument to a modern plan, and, well, it leaves it up to you to decide where the facts end and the speculation begins.